What if we told you there are things that realtors do that drive us crazy? Now, before the entire realtor community comes after us, hear us out. Listen, after thousands of conversations and transactions, there are a few things that lenders see that can make a real estate transaction harder than it needs to be for everyone involved. So today, we're breaking down realtor red flags, things that lenders secretly wish realtors would stop doing. Stay tuned. Well, happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome back to the Mojo Show, where we give you real conversations, real estate, and real advice to help you make smarter home buying decisions. I'm your host, Joe Mortgage.
And I'm Cup of Joe Mortgage.
This week's episode, we're discussing realtor red flags, things that lenders secretly wish realtors would stop doing. Now, these aren't deal killers. They're things that make financing harder than it really needs to be. Now, great realtors avoid these because they know it leads to happier clients and smoother closings. But before we get to that, of course, a little coffee talk with the Joes. Now, from what I remember, if my calendar is correct, somebody's birthday is going to be coming up pretty soon here, Mr. Cup of Joe.
Yeah, your wife's, isn't it today?
Hers is tomorrow. That's a good point.
Go.
I got to put that on my calendar. Let me write that down.
Well, happy birthday, Carrie, a day early. But yes, I am getting older this year. I'm hitting the big fifth floor. 50 is coming up, and you and I were talking the other day about tell me you're getting old without telling me you're getting old.
Right.
And I couldn't remember what we discussed. So that's one way of telling me I'm getting old without telling me I'm old, is my memory is not there anymore to remember everything that I want to talk about. But I think it was something to do with Hunter and I. We were moving some things out at the lake, and I bend down, and all of a sudden my knee is locking up. I'm aching and pain. And all of a sudden, I just see Hunter just whoosh by me with this heavy, they're 5-gallon buckets of concrete. And he's got two of them that are, built. We use them as anchors for a tent. So he's got two of them. He just washes by me, and I'm like, I'm trying to do this with two of them. And I give up now. He's 20, I'm 50. Yeah, we'll see what happens down the road. But what is one thing for you, Joe, that's like, that I feel old without, just saying, I know I'm old?
Happy hour for me is nap time. Yeah, definitely. And I tell you what, I am done. Next home that I move into, I'm done with stairs. I'm sorry, but at the end of the night, to be able to go up those stairs, those chairlift things that go up the side of the wall, those things are starting to look pretty good to me right now. I tell you what, instead of hitting those, going up them stairs at the end of the night, shoo-wee.
That is hilarious. Well, I would love to hear from any of our listeners. Tell me you're old without saying you're old. I would love to see those in the comments. But I know today, Joe, I'm excited about today's show, and we were kind of talking about it just a minute ago, right? We're not trying to upset any agents.
No, please understand.
We work with really, really good agents, and but these are things that make either our jobs more difficult or make the process more difficult, in our opinion. So we're going to talk about those. So we would love to hear any comments that any of our agent listeners have out there. If this is something you're doing, I like Hillary's already.
No.
Tell me you're getting old without saying you're old. Your knee
Poor Hillary.
replacement.
She's gone through 2 of them already. The poor thing.
And Hillary is not old, by the way. So I feel for her and knee replacements. But I will say that is my mom brags about that's the best thing she did was getting both of her knees done. So
I remember when my mom, she had her hip replacement, and what they do for that, I mean, that's gross. I just that's not.
Let's not go into that. We're not doctors.
No,
We're talking
we're talking about realtors today.
Yep. So one of the things on the when it comes to how does it make our deals more difficult or how could it kill a deal, Joe, I want to know your opinion on this first topic that we're talking about here. The real estate agent that is representing both the buyer and the seller at the same time with no intermediary in there.
See, and I just had this a closing that I had last month in June.
Okay.
And I really tried to encourage the buyer to get a different realtor.
Right? Now, did the buyer find the house and just call the listing agent?
No. So actually what it was is the buyer knew the seller.
Okay.
And the house wasn't even on the market yet. Knew that they wanted to sell it. So they wanted to do it between friends. And the sellers already had a realtor. It's like, well, why don't we just use mine? Make it easy, right? I can tell you that going through that transaction, there were definitely some things that I wish they would have had a separate realtor to represent them and be an advocate for them, right? Because that realtor, I'm sorry, but they had the seller's best interest.
Yeah, and I've seen
left
that
a lot of money on the table. I'll say that.
Right. And I've seen a couple of times to where, you're driving by and you see this house in your neighborhood. Actually, I had a really good friend of mine. I did the financing for him, but he called the listing agent and the listing agent was like, well, do you have a real estate agent? And he said yes, but then it didn't, whatever. But then he just had that listing agent represent both sides. And I get sometimes this can save money on one end or the other. But when you have them representing both sides, their first duty is to whoever they have the agreement with first. And most of the time, that is the sellers. So if you're the buyer, your representation is very limited. And your negotiating power is very limited because you're actually having to negotiate with the agent that's going to go back to the seller. Well, if they're looking out for the seller's best interest in the money, that hinders your negotiating power.
Yes.
And, so I do get it. There's the for sale by owners. They're not going to use an agent. And you have a buyer's agent. That buyer's agent now is representing you as the buyer. But then again, if you're the seller, they're not representing you. So you're having to represent yourself, which is fine. But it makes it more difficult in the grand scheme of all of what we have to go through. When it comes to surveys, inspections, when it comes to appraisals, it gets a little bit more difficult when you don't have a good team of agents with you that you're working with and getting it done. So, I really recommend having one that represents you, having one that represents the seller to make this an easier transition for you to buy a house.
Yes. Especially when it comes to negotiating things and stuff. It's you need someone on your side, as an advocate to be able to do this. Truly.
Now, I will ask this, Joe. When it comes to something like this, what about when it's family buying from family? Is there a spot to where you would recommend both sides having agents?
I mean, it's a tough one. It really is. And it kind of depends on the situation, right?
So we have clientele that you guys need to understand when you're buying from a family member, there's other family members that might be involved. If it is just a, single child family and you're buying it from your parents, there's no other family involved that can get messy. It can ruin family relationships. But when you have multiple siblings or step siblings or half siblings, all of this, then emotions get involved.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're buying a house, you need to try to leave out the emotion. But when it's a family home, emotions get involved, and one person feels like another might be taken advantage of. And we've had actually some clients stop at the very end, and they even had earnest money down. But because it started causing too much of a rift in the family, you have to make sure you're accounting for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't mean that you have to have an agent that's making 6% and paying both sides, all
Right.
that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can negotiate that too, especially if I'm buying from my brother or from my parents and my brother wants to know, we can have an agent that's getting 2%, 1% that represents me and 1% that represents them.
Sure.
They'll do that because all they're doing is the contract. They're not doing pictures. They're not doing, going through and giving you a consult on the house. They're not doing
Right.
any of that. You can get some small representation and you can negotiate that if they're
Mm-hmm.
not having to do it. But it also protects that relationship between families.
Absolutely.
It takes that personal emotion out of it. And I do recommend that.
Because otherwise there could be a lot of resentment for the next, several years between the family members. And
Yeah.
to take it a step further, if you are in that situation, still, please, even though you know the house, right? If it's your parents' house, as the example you gave, Joe, still get an inspection.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
That is one thing. But here, I'm going to put this up there. Hillary, yours is one of many. If you guys don't know this about me, I do a lot with our loan officers, our brokers, and I get all of these different scenarios that come up. But Hillary, yours is one of the many times that I've had these conversations in the back and forth. So thank you for listening. But no, this was not just about what our conversation was last week. So
let me add another scenario in here for you. What about someone that goes and looks at a new build?
okay.
Right? And the salesperson there, that's a realtor. So, sometimes, right? So Joe, should they use that person or should they get someone else? What's going to be the best position for someone in that scenario?
So the builders already have a price built in, right? They're not going to discount the sales price of your house if you do not have an agent. They're not going to give you any other incentives if you don't have an agent. That salesperson, when you walk in, just like a car salesperson, who are they representing? Are they really negotiating that car price down for you with that sales manager? Or are they just trying to say, hey, I know they'll take it at this number? So in this case, when you go into a builder and you don't have an agent, that builder's sales rep is a sales rep for who?
The builder.
The builder.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not really any negotiating that you can do there besides upgrades, incentives, maybe closing costs. Those are things that you can negotiate. Some builders that have, spec homes that are built and things like that might be selling on the market, those you can negotiate price, but it's a little bit more difficult. But a good agent can go in there and they can help you get more upgrades. They can help you understand what's going on. They can also pull up what other homes in the area might have had issues with them throughout foundation stuff, things like that.
Yep.
So not using an agent just kind of puts you up in a hope and dream. I hope this works out, and I dream that we get what we want to get.
Right.
And I would recommend back there too, Joe, that get that agent.
Mm-hmm.
Take that agent with you when you go look at the new builds. When you walk in and they ask you, do you have a real estate agent? Say yes up front. Write down the name of that agent. So that way, when you go back, it's already on documented paper. Because if you don't, they will not then let you get an agent.
And realtors out there that are listening in, I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are in that scenario with a new build. Should the buyer have their own realtor representing them in that, even though, there's really all the comps and everything are pretty well set already. for the buyer. I mean, should they have representation from a separate realtor? I'd be curious to hear anyone listening in.
I think I know the answer to that one, but I would love to see some comments on it too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
ask for it.
I want to ask you another one on there. Who is advocating ethically in the case if it's a builder's sales rep or your own buyer's agent? When you think of the ethical point of that, the sell, and I would love to know your opinion before I share mine, because I was about to just share mine.
Well, you can.
But when you go in there, from an ethical standpoint, do you trust that sales rep is going to tell you all the facts about the community and the homes and any issues that might have been going on with the development?
People want to trust them.
Yeah.
Should they? I don't. Again, they're working for the builder.
Yeah.
Right. So they're
and the developer too, right?
And the developer, right?
They're having to do that. Do you know? Have you had any situations where a sales rep might have not given the full truth behind like a PID, a MUD, development changes, anything like that, HOAs?
Not that I can think of offhand.
Okay. So
I take it you have.
Yeah. Well, there's a community, and I'm not going to leave it out because they've corrected it now. But when these developers go in there and they're making these master communities, they work their magic with the cities, with the counties about adding an extra tax to help offset their expense for the development.
Wow.
And what sales reps were doing in this one community is they were saying, oh, that extra PID will come off of there in a couple of years. And that's what everybody was believing. Well, that never happened. Well, the way that they corrected it now, because they finally got rid of that, and it was almost a full % more on your tax millage rate.
That's a lot.
Right. It was 0.9. Well, what they did now is they've dropped that. I don't know if they dropped it all the way off. I can't remember, and I'm not going to go look it up, but they dropped that. But guess what they did? They doubled the HOA fee.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. They got to make it up somehow, right?
Right. So, that's the other thing from an ethical standpoint is, are you getting the full truth about everything that's going on if you don't have representation for yourself? And I don't think you do. I'm not saying they lie to you. I'm not saying any of that.
No.
It's just like with my parents growing up and with my kids to me. If you don't know and I don't tell you, is it a lie? Or is it just me saving you from the stress and the heartache of something stupid I did and you don't need to know about it?
The latter.
Which that's a whole different coffee talk.
Yes, that's more of a coffee talk right there. We'll do that one for next week. Well, we've spent at least a good 15 minutes just on this one. We've got like 3 others to go through here, Joe. Let's jump to the next one, which I know both of you and I are passionate about, and that's realtors. When you have a buyer and you feel, because you've been taught this way, that you need to provide 3 different lender referrals to that buyer.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You and I've gotten the rebuttal back that that NAR requires it. And
do not.
They do not.
We've looked it up.
Go ahead. Show me someone, a realtor, in the NAR guidelines where it says you are required to provide 3 lender referrals.
Yeah.
And forgive me, I'm probably going to be a little venting passionate about this one because it just rubs me the wrong way. Right. And
that's why we went 15 minits on the last topic.
Yeah. Because this one's, I'm going to go 15 minutes on at least. Right. Hey, look, if you are not doing anything good for your buyer by giving them 3 three lenders to go to. Now you're adding more stress because look, when they go through the numbers and have to provide everything to a lender and to have them do that 3 times, no, I'm sorry. Now
So-
I have some realtors, I understand that they feel that they are obligated to, but they will tell them that, look, this lender is the one that out of these 3 that, I think would fit best for you, call them.
Yeah.
I get that.
Plausible deniability. That is the way that I look at this. And I've had multiple conversations with agents. And if you want to give out 3 because you feel like, oh, I want them to be able to shop, clients know that they can shop rates. That has nothing to do with a client being able to go out and see what else is out in the market. But if you truly are a partner with a real estate agent, that is a partnership. And I have some really good partnerships to where they used to do the 3 because that's the way everybody, after the lawsuit and all the real estate agents, we can't, just give 1. What you're doing there is you're just giving up, and what all real estate brokerages were trying to do is minimize any risk that they might have that somebody says you tried to steer them one way. You're not steering them, you're recommending one person because you have a relationship and a partnership with them.
Absolutely.
The other way is I'm going to give you 3 names, and then guess what? Oh, it didn't go the way it wanted to. Well, it's because
that's on you.
Right. You had choices. And that's where I have my conversations with my agents are, if you want to do that, that's fine. But you're setting your clients up to not want to refer you because you don't have a strong team network.
Yes.
So I have agents, and I have certain agents that have an insurance person. So I don't give out more than 1 quote because I'm like, this is the one that we trust. If you want others, then go out and you can do what you want. But here's the one we trust to get this done. I also have, agents that have their inspectors. Have a true inspector. They don't give you out 3 names. If it's a good agent, good person that's doing it, that is a partnership. So I do the same thing when it comes to my insurance and my agent. We have a partnership with that other insurance person. I'm done giving out 3 names all the time.
I'm not going to do that to my clients.
If I'm asking my real estate agents not to do it, then it's not right for me to do that to my other partners. We've got to start doing this different, in my opinion. We're not vendors.
Exactly.
I'm not your vendor. I'm not going to keep, investing in your business and helping you and growing you. And the same for me if we're not partners. I've been a vendor for too long in this business, and it does not work out.
Right. And if you, in realtors, if you don't have a partner, call us. We'll get you one. Right. Because there's a lot of good loan officers out there.
Well, here in Texas at NXT, we have 50, and Joe's one of the great ones with us too. So we've got people, we've got plenty of personalities to mesh with anybody and everybody.
And you bring up a good point there before we move to the next one, personalities. Now, I understand that, certain personalities of people fit with different clients. And that I get, right? So if you want to have 2 or 3 lenders that are in your pocket, to be able to, you think that would fit a certain lender with a certain type of client, I get that. Totally do. Right.
Yeah.
But understand, realtors, and I had this a year ago with some dear friends of mine in the Woodlands that were looking to buy a home. And I knew right away who to match them with.
Yep.
So I told them, go call this realtor. I didn't give them 3 realtors.
Yep.
Right. I gave them 1 realtor, the one that I knew would work best with them.
And that's the same thing I've got up in Nebraska right now with some of the agents that I've built relationships with, is they know which ones in certain areas that they only want a local phone number. Well, I don't have a local phone number. Cell phones nowadays, everything else, changing it and trying to do 2 numbers is a pain in the butt to me. And yes, there's another one, Joe. Tell me you're old without saying you're old. There it is new phones and all that stuff.
Yes.
But I tell them, good, you have your agents that you know that person needs to be with, but that is your partner with that client. I'm not saying I'm your own
not.
So
You're breaking up. What was that?
I broke up this time. Was it me or you, Joe?
It's probably both of us.
This was such a good show until that happened.
It was. No, I totally agree with you. We only got like 5 minutes left. We got 2 more to get through. I don't think we're going to get through. You want to do number 3 or number 4?
Let's see. I like number 3.
Okay, so let's talk about number 3. And that's going under contract before talking to a lender. How many times have us LOs, and loan officers, please chime in, that you get a call from a realtor and say, hey, I've got a client for you. They just got their offer accepted. I need you to make this happen. I need to make this work. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let me get my bag of pixie dust and sprinkle it all over this and then make it work.
I want to know, with our agents listening, why do you put them in your car?
There.
Why do you
Thank you.
Why do you drive to a house knowing that I don't know if they qualify or not?
Well, they told me that they will. Joe, they told me that they'll qualify, and I know these clients. I've worked with them before, so I know they're going to qualify.
The undue stress there that you put on the whole process of getting somebody in your car, because guess what? They find that house. That house is perfect. The kitchen is facing east, so I can see the sunrise. The patio's facing west, I can see the sunset, whatever it might be.
Yep.
It's $600,000, and my client qualifies for $350,000.
Yep.
Because nobody knows until you actually have it pulled and you look at it.
Yep.
Why waste your money? Why waste the time of a listing agent? Thoughts of, okay, why did they not put an offer on this house? Stop doing that. Stop getting people's hopes and dreams up before you actually know if they qualify or not, and stop wasting your money and time to go show them a house. In my opinion, you're taking time away from, especially a lot of real estate agents are parents that, either they had another career and now they went into real estate because, one, it's a great business. 2, it gives you some freedom to be involved in your family and your kids' lives and things like that. Why take away from that when you don't know if this person's going to qualify?
And remember a year ago when so many Parent Plus loans suddenly needed to start being paid instead of deferred, and people didn't know? And it hit their credit without them knowing, and their credit drops like 60, 70, 80 points because now it's not being paid, and then goes into collections without them knowing.
Or that 90-day late payment on that student loan popped up because you didn't read your mail that was sent and the forbearance went off. Yeah, there's a lot of factors in there that we've dealt with over the years.
Yes.
And it doesn't make sense. So with a partnership, you don't have to worry about that, because I tell my agents all the time, if you're willing to take that person out before you do a 3-way text to introduce me, then you're the one that made that decision. And I get it. And then sometimes family, I'll take a family member, I'll do this. Same thing. I did that to my niece. I love you very much, Shelby. And we're in that same kind of situation to where we're about to close on the house and everything else, but there's a little difference. I'm in the business. I know what I'm doing, but she's had people and friends that she goes and shows a home for, and then we're getting them pre-approved, and then they have to kind of redirect sometimes. So she does a great job at doing those 3-way texts. My couple of my other ones, especially here in Texas, Dawn Robinson, and yes, I'm name dropping, Joe, name dropping some people. Dawn does a great job at making sure we do that text message, and that is the best way for us to be able to be in that partnership with you.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just, I love the people that I work with, Joe, because I'm not dealing with these scenarios as much anymore.
I agree with you. We do work with some really good realtors out there. We do. And as we start to wrap things up, I'm just going to drop two quick ones real quick here, right? One is that, you know, when you hire a realtor, are they truly in the business or just licensed?
Yep.
Okay. You know, because if they're only helping one or two families a year, they're probably not staying current on contracts, financing, negotiations, market changes, all these different things to be able to really represent you. And the second one that I'll drop real quick, realtors, if you get your buyer pre-approved, you get them fully pre-approved, the way, of course, Joe, you and I go through, very scrutinized, you know, their documents, everything. And then you take them to a new build. I'm sorry, you're fired.
It happens to some of them. I ask my agents, Joe, I have changed up. I do ask my agents now, are you guys going to a new build? If so, look for Bloomfield Homes. And the reason I'm going to promote Bloomfield Homes is because Bloomfield does it right. They will give their incentive to any lender that you're using. That is the way a builder should be, because they're looking out for your best interest as a buyer.
Right. Because, okay. Well, here's the bottom line, folks. Realtors that are watching this, hopefully this episode wasn't offensive to you today, but if anything, it reinforced why you're great at what you do. Because there are some really incredible realtors out there. In fact, we get the privilege of working with them every single day. Joe and I do. The best realtors don't just open houses, folks. They educate, communicate, advocate for their clients, and build a team of professionals they trust to help get the job done. So if you need a top realtor like this, reach out to the Joes and we'll connect you with someone in your area. Tune in next week, folks, as we're going to flip the script here on today's topic and discuss what realtors secretly wished lenders would stop doing. And I hope we get a lot of you realtors chiming in. Matter of fact, I would love some comments. You can drop them in this episode or DM Joe or myself with some of your wishes that you secretly wish that us lenders would stop doing, and we'll add them to the show next week. So tune in next week at our usual time, 9 a.m. Central. Even better still, of course, go to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss an episode, and be able to catch up, of course, on some of the other episodes. Plus, as well, we are on a mission to get to 1,000 subscribers, and every like, share, comment helps us reach more homeowners like yourselves. Now, before we close things out, Joe, what's one thing you feel listeners should take away from today's show?
Be represented for yourself truly when you're buying a house. This is your biggest investment you're going to do. So you need somebody that's representing you, not representing the whole. So that is my recommendation. Work with a partnership that is already going, and have somebody represent you as the real estate agent.
And ask the realtor, do you have a team, a partner team, not a vendors, but partner team?
Yep.
Very great. I'm Joe Mortgage, and that handsome guy with the beard is Cup of Joe Mortgage, and we'll see you next week.